Have you ever had or a discussion of fitting or discussion of a fitting where they had this terminology and you just didn't understand it? Like smash factor, toe droop, did you get a side spin, that kind of stuff. Well, we're going to talk about some of that stuff next on What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Welcome back to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Jim McCleary here, and this is where we're going to talk about golf club repairs, golf club reviews, and golf club fittings, all so your scores can and should go low. Why is it What's in My Drawers? Because it's about what's in my drawers in my golf shop. And old club makers and club fitters are tremendous pack rats, and that is no different. Matter of fact, we were cleaning out the garage this weekend, and I stumbled upon an old a milk carton or a milk crate that held three metal bound. The books were metal, and there were three ring binders that were metal and had stuff. Oh, I'm going to say easily from the 70s in it, and I had some old Professional Clubmaker Society magazines that they gave out during the day when I was a member. So I kept some, and then there was an old GolfWorks book that gave values from the 50s on up. That was published in the pardon me, probably the late 80s, early 90s. So really interesting stuff. So that kind of stuff exists. Anyway, so that's where we're at. So we got to see the USA ladies. They ended up winning. Congrats to them. And what we did in the shop was very, very little as far as we got some building done, but we're really waiting on stuff now. Dan, if he gets on here, I've got his. I'm going to redo some raw Opus wedges, and we've got another one. I believe he's from Pennsylvania. We got some of that stuff to do in there. However, while we were in there, Mrs. McGolf cut me loose inside the garage, and that's always a different idea. In that, I got to work on some of the old whiskey barrels that I was working on, and we got that. So I got it. Now we starting it off. It's Pars to Pours. It's a bottle opener, and they come in different sizes and shapes, as one can see. Right there's Pars and Pours, and there's that. And what you can see is on the side that dark line that's right there, and the dark line that you can see that's right about there. That's where the whiskey got into this wood. Here's even better there. That's where the whiskey got into the wood. And if you were to cut this in half, you would still smell it. Anyway, what I did was I cut them to the place where your hands fit, or at least my hands fit. And then I sanded down the back where the char was. And, you can always still get a little bit dirty. So I sealed them so you don't get any of that dirt on there. Now, you see this one. This one was the bottom of the barrel that held either the barrel bottom or the barrel top. And this one was one that was in the middle. And so we started doing that. And I got the laser engraver going. So now we got Pars and Pours going on that. And that was at the request of a customer that was in here earlier. And I said, okay, we'll do that. And then so I made it go on further for we call them bourbon flights. So, and I'm here to tell you, I've tested this many times so far. And these, when you hold them up here and you hold it like this, all three of those things are stable as a rock. I took them in a golf cart ride and didn't spill any of them. So there we go. That was the end of that one. Also, today we're in Bourbon Heritage Month. That's the reason why I'm showing you that. Today is day 16, and I got some Booker's 24-1, the first edition of this year, the Springfield edition. So cheers. Okay, back into golf. We did do some stuff. We made a few things, but it was kind of a wait and see. We got two wrong deliveries of shafts for a couple of sets that we're trying to build. And so instead of trying to make do, we were going to make right. And so we sent them back and we're getting some more in. So what it means is this coming week, we are going to talk a boatload of stuff that I've done, including Dan and our friend from Pennsylvania. I believe that's where he's at. Anyway, we're going to do that. Last thing is we always get to talk about, while we were waiting, the weather here has been fantastic. It's been, 50 degrees in the morning. It gets up into the mid 80s mid to high 80s, about about 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and then it turns around and just starts dive bombing again. It's a great time back here where you see the fans moving. It's really good about that time. About 4 o'clock or 5, it's a little dicey because that's where all the heat starts popping out. But after that, it's really comfortable. But we got a pork butt out, and it turned out pretty good. All righty. So let's talk about fitting stuff. And the reason why I bring this up is we did some fittings this week. We had actually did quite a few. I think we did 9, and been doing lots and lots of fittings, and it's been a truckload of fun, and it's also a learning experience. It's really funny how I learn different things from different people. And in this particular case, we had a couple of buddies come up, and they were from Gloucester area, and they had saw me fit another person who had some success, so they wanted to go through it, and it was grand. Turns out one's a golf coach. They both work at the same place in a school, but one's a golf coach and can golf pretty decent, where the other one is getting ready to retire if he hasn't already. And he had a medical condition where the blood vessels in the eye make the eye just wander, apparently. So he's got to wear an eye patch, and so that made for some real dicey swinging. But we got him through it. So anyway, what was the thing? A lot of people come up with these, will be misconceptions, and you see things that are on the internet. Yeah, you need to do like this if you want to do like that, and all. And sometimes the information is good, sometimes it's not. But you just like doing golf things, and we used to see it quite a bit on when you would read golf magazines. People, back in the day when people actually read, people would see these things: how to cure a slice, how to cure a hook, how to do all these things, and you would see these people go out and try these golf things and go, oh, that didn't work. Well, it didn't work because the thing that they were trying to correct, that golfer wasn't doing. And so it can be worse than the cure can be worse than, the disease in this case. Well, the same thing goes for fittings. People will come in with preconceived notions, and they go, well, this is the only club I can hit. Well, I bet not. Or this is the length that I need, or this is the swing weight that I need, or I don't want any offset, or all these different things. So a couple of things that you should be looking. I'm going to be very broad, all right, because how people do fittings, this is chicken or the egg stuff. Normally what can happen here is if you fit out of what they call fitting carts, normally there's very, very little length adjustment on clubs. And why is that? Because it takes extra time for OEMs to build different clubs than what's going right down the line, right? And they really don't want to take a lot of time to do that, and because it's a business decision, right? It's all about efficiency. Well, here we're all about customization. So efficiency, although I do like to be efficient, isn't like I'm cranking out 10,000 sets in a week. It's just not that way. So, and that is what kind of filters back to the fitting. What you might get is, and I've seen it in other OEMs in handbooks for their fitting, they will give you a certain length, and they don't believe that the length is it. And if you're out on the toe, you need more upright. If you're in the heel, you need to be more flat. Well, when a choking down a half an inch could have solved the whole thing, or 3/4 of an inch for that matter, or going up a half an inch for that matter. All these things, I'm harping on this length because I think length is a paramount parameter that goes on a golf club. Right? Not everybody, you could still be 6'4" and still need a standard set of irons if you had really, really long arms. You could also be 6'4" and need something an inch over because you stand very vertical. You might have had spinal fusions, or you have very, very short arms. Okay. It's all these, there's a lot that has to be considered here. All right. And now, so that's what we did for the one that was the golfer. He had been playing standard length clubs and he was a shorter cat. And I said, well, let's just try something shorter. And so we did. Hit a little bit better. Wasn't outstanding, but he hit it better. Then I gave him some a little bit more shorter, and all of a sudden he is just absolutely finding the middle, which he hadn't done before. Found the middle, and the ball is just flying in a direction that he wasn't used to. And that by itself can be uncomfortable because we all get conditioned. Oh, I hit a fade, I hit a fade, or I hit a hook. Well, what if you don't? What if I get you to don't? Now all of a sudden the response feels wrong because you didn't hit it the way that you were used to. Well, you just told me you wanted to stop the fade, so I got you stopping the fade. And all of a sudden it feels very uncomfortable. It takes about 4, 5, 6 shots to go, oh, that's the new normal. Yeah, there we go. Now it's the new normal, and we get to doing that. All right. And then we get to start talking about that. And then we start talking about turf interaction. We start talking about going, one way or the other. So a couple of terms we want to go over before we start answering questions. Smash factor. Smash factor is nothing more than a measurement of the quality of your hit. All right. And it is a logarithmic number. Instead of being a linear thing that looks like, a linear where it's a straight line, all right, it is a curved graph where it goes like this, curves, and then almost goes straight up. And why is that? Because it's logarithmic, and it meaning that the first couple of measurement points, like a 0.00 and 0.03 and change from your ratio, is flat line. You really didn't do anything. You get into the curve, and it's 0.03 to maybe 0.05, maybe 0.06, and yeah, you made a change, but is it what you want? And then above a 0.06, because it's such a radical change, it's like, how come I'm not in your bag? Okay. And those are the things that we've got to go over when you go, wow, I just feel like I was really hitting this one well. And the numbers would verify it. And I go like this because I have a TV right over here where all that information is displayed. Now, so we do that, and you go, well, what's that? Well, it's a ratio between club head speed and ball speed, because you get into the better part of the club, it's going to rebound better, and you're going to take off, and you're going to do that. All right. And then the other one is we talk about side spin. I don't subscribe to side spin. I know where it comes from. I just don't subscribe to it. And I mean that by, hold on a minute. I happen to have a golf ball right here with me. Okay. So side spin. Here we go. So side spin. So in reality, when you hit a ball, you hit backspin, and that's what we're talking about. And this is just a straight up 90 degree, right? And 90 degree. And they would say that there is zero side spin. This is the part where I don't like this. So if you come across and you cut across the ball, all of a sudden it tilts and you're still hitting backspin. Now you see what's happening? You just went from this. Let's use that. Get it here. We just went from this going around to this going around. All right. All you did was tilt the axis of the ball, and that axis is still side spinning like this, or it's still back spinning like this. It's just on a different axis. It didn't start turning like this. It didn't start turning like this out of nowhere. What it did is it tilted on an axis and it started going. It's like throwing a curve ball. For any of you guys that played baseball, when you threw a curve ball, you either threw it down around or you threw it around like this. The ball didn't, the spin of the ball, you just didn't have all of a sudden two diameters where it spun on the top and it spun on the side. You turned how you threw the ball in order to get that different curve or do it. That's the same thing right here. Okay. Those are some things that you have to take into account. Then the other one is, and I want you to pay attention to this one, if you were to go to a fitting, and all of a sudden, if you were playing some older, I'm looking at all this stuff. I don't even know why I got it on this desk. And this happened here. You go from an older club or even more of a players-like club, and they hand you the latest, greatest model, and all of a sudden you are absolutely slaying it, right? And what I mean is, like, let's say you're 150, your 7-iron is 150 to 160, and all of a sudden, guy throws you a club, a 7-iron, and next thing you know, you're hitting at 170 to 180. Well, that's a hell of an improvement, right? And who doesn't want to hit it further? All right. Chances are it's because your club got stronger. Okay. Your club got stronger, and by design, right? It's not that it's bad or good in between. That's just what it is. Now, that company may also make a another golf club that will be more players like and be weaker, such that you have, when you have all these jacked up clubs for guys that with super high swing speed, you get down to the bottom of the set, all of a sudden you're wondering what kind of, how many wedges do you got to carry, and so you got to kind of worry about that. So you got to be very, very careful about how, what your dispersion or your irons are going to be. And then what do you carry at the top end, right? Because now, if you have even a 90-mile-an-hour iron speed, which is very, very, very positive, you get up to a 4-iron, you may not be able to get that thing off the ground, all right, because the loft is just so strong. All right, so keep those things in mind. Now, it's not bad that you hit it far. You just have to make sure that's part of the game, and that's part of those discussions that you have with the fitter in order to make sure you're walking away with the right recommendations for the stuff that you want. Okay, those are just some of the things. Now, again, in this particular instance, we left. What we did is we left some T100s, which is a slightly weaker, but not by a bunch, a slightly weaker, and we went to the new Mizuno. Actually, no, we went to the Mizuno 245s, literally a degree difference. And I gained him because I got that quality of hit, that smash factor up so high that he literally gained a club and a half. All right, that's what we were looking for. The funny thing is, for both of these guys that I fit, I absolutely destroyed their irons and made some really good. We made some really good improvements on the irons and the wedges. It was really funny, the different wedges that they picked out. And but we got to the driver. I couldn't beat one driver because he was hitting perfect smash factors and just killing it. Now, the funny part there was is he had cut it down an inch, and which was the length that I was going to prescribe for him. And that really, really, really helped a lot. All right. Putting my pen back in my pocket. And the other one I did beat. I did beat it, and it was a brand new TaylorMade, but I beat it by like 2 yards. Right, I beat it by 2 yards, and the new Callaway, and nice setup, and he hit it. The difference was, I think we beat it by 2 yards, maybe three tops, and maybe just a bit tighter. But he's still going through the eye thing, and I said, do I think I beat your club? And the answer is yes. Is it worth the $600 change in it? No, it's not. And that's another thing, is the fitter's got to be brutally honest too, not only to the positive, but sometimes the negative. And we talked about some. I helped even both players out with some stance issues that they both had, and it was both different. The tall one scrunched, and the short one stood up maybe a little too much. So that was really kind of neat. And then we worked on some grips. So then we get it. If you want to get into some more technical type things, it's like, well, what the cutting down a club. Oh my God, when you cut down a club, it makes it weaker. No, it doesn't. All right, it doesn't. Particularly not when you're only taking off a half of an inch. And so it was really a lot of fun myth busting, and we were able to show them in a lot of cases. Like, here's one that's a half of an inch. Here you go, half an inch shorter, and you just grab down a half an inch. Does that make any difference? Well, no. There you go. So it was a lot of fun, and we ended up that they're going to get a couple of sets of irons that are going to improve their game. And the other one, I got him putting better. We'll see whether or not he orders the putter. The putter was a lot of fun. That was getting the right putter underneath a person really changes your game. All righty, so we got through that. Let's answer some questions. There's Matt, shot a 70 in his only round. Question: as we get into fall golf in the States, describe your favorite golf season. I am heading to soccer and will catch later. All right. So my favorite golf season is not summer. I like I'm a spring or fall kind of guy, or just that transitional period. I like the fall, but I don't like it when the leaves get on the course and starts hiding my golf ball when I hit them offline. I do like the spring because most people will go, oh, it's still in the spring. We give ourselves a little credit and we go out and play. And there's not a lot of expectation so we don't have, we're not pressuring ourselves. We're in the spring. I'm like, hey, I ought to be golfing a little bit better than this. But I like those two. Just like this, I don't mind golfing in the 80s. It's just when it's silly humid is just not fun. Charlie's on here. Favorite golf scene when I can play spring, summer, fall, or winter. Charlie, you play when it's 30 degrees out, dude. So I don't even know if you even get a vote. Oh my. And he said, great round. A 70 shot, man. I don't think he's been above par yet. All righty. Hello, everyone. There's John. What do you say, buddy? TJ Pierce getting on St. Jim's. Looks like he's enjoying some bookers on this. And I am, TJ. Had some 24 inch spring last night. Right there, sir. Toast to you. I got the thing sitting right here. I got the 02 and I've got the 2202. And I've only opened up this one. My son got me this one, and he had it in the back of his car, and it got hot. And what happened was he heard this pop, and the whole, the wax that's on it, it popped. And the only thing that kept it in here was the box that it was sitting in. And because it was sitting in that box, the lid actually never came out. So I've been real happy about that. This is a, what is this, 165, 130 proof? Man, it's nice. All right, Emmanuel, hello. Great rounds, Matt. Watching the U.S. women win the Solheim Cup. Next up, President's Cup this weekend. Yes, it is. And we saw some coaching changes because it looks like the guy that was going to be an assistant played his way onto the team. Good for him. Robin talking. She's hopefully not sleeping in the chair. I don't know if she's like right there. I don't know if that's her or not. Let's see. Oh, it is her, but she's not sleeping. Okay. There we go. Robin's talking back. Talking. Good at that. Here we go. There's Al from the Space Coast. How are you, sir? Robin saying hit that like button. And I did not say anything about that, but if you would, please like and subscribe like it says across the bottom so we can get this word out about the channel, and we'll talk about that stuff. All right. Kent's on. Congratulations to the Solheim Cup. We just weren't up to it this time. Nope. But Charlie Hall was making some serious headlines, wasn't she? Between beating Nelly Corda and smoking all the time. I don't know which one's funnier. Manuel said he hit that thumbs up. Charlie's wanting to know how Kent's going. Robin saying, is she good? She's still relaxing after that harsh vacation, although she really took it to the garage today, Kent. She went in there, and we have untold number of boxes from receiving golf product. I mean, untold numbers. I bet it occupied, and I've got a 2.5 car garage. I bet this thing occupied at least one car's worth of boxes. Okay. And it's just huge. You couldn't see the wall. You couldn't see the floor. You couldn't see nothing. And she went in there and she flattened a bunch of boxes and stayed the other ones away and put some on we have a pallet that we put them on in there, keep them from getting wet. And it looks really, really good. I made the fatal error and I said, so we're going to throw away the rest of these boxes that are still standing up. And I got that evil eye. And then all of a sudden he says, well, you know what? Maybe that's not a bad thing. What's going to happen? We need a box, right? Because we're still getting shipments. So, hey, it's not a problem. Travis K, need help with a student. Okay. When fitting a driver, they are making high impact, high on the face pop-ups no matter what. I try. What could be the cause? I do have something for you to try. Let me get a club head. Okay. So a lot of times when you have a high on the face impact, this is just what I'm finding from a fitting. So we're talking about like right here. Okay, you're talking about right here. And a lot of times there's a lot of goose eggs right here, right? I tell you what, this is my Wilson. These are D9s. I use these as my fitting heads. These things were awesome for guys with slower swing speeds. Absolutely rocket sleds. So anyway, So what's happening here, if it's right up in this area, now, Travis, if you've got a launch monitor, or a way to what you want to look at is the angle of attack. What I'm going to guess is that the angle of attack is extraordinarily high. And the angle of attack is this. If this is the way the club was made to be played, they're coming into it like that. Okay, they're coming into it like that. So what you have to do, and it's going to be gross for the first couple of times, you need to tee that ball down a lot. Okay, it's going to change the way they swing. So chances are they're diving into this club or they're coming across. And what's happening is if you had the ball, let's see if I can get you here. There's the equator, and you do like this, and all of a sudden you come into it like that, and now all of a sudden you're hitting these goose eggs. Okay, so you turn it down. Well, you're still hitting them up here, and the idea is to get you into this part of the face. So you see how low this already is? So down low, they get into it. Now it gets into here. The club is still under the equator of the ball, so it will fly. And you might hit a few stingers, and nothing wrong with that. The idea is to you're getting the golfer to come into it a little differently. I guarantee you, after about 10 shots, this is going to go to something like that. It will still be a higher angle of attack because you're just not going to work it out in a couple of swings. However, what you can do is you can get it from here and maybe move it up, and then when you get in here, because this is really the sweet spot of the clubs, right? And then all of a sudden it takes off. Now, the other thing you have to consider is, oh, I got an itchy head today. The other thing you want to consider is a low lofted club. Now, I don't mean like 8 or 9. I'm around 8, 7, 6, which I had a 6 degree in here this weekend. Is consider maybe about a 9 degree. Even if the swing speed is a little low, go with the 9. The reason being is that this looks like this. Okay, this is curved. Doesn't look like it, but it is. So the loft angle up here is a few degrees, not just a few, not just a little, but a few degrees, which is a game changer. And if you can get it right here where everything is measured and say this is 9, this could easily be 11 or 12. All right. But if you come into it like that, all of a sudden it's right back to where you need it to be, and you can do that. Okay. That's number one. Put this back. The other part of that is, and I'll go back to length because I think it's a very, very important one, is very, very important parameter is make sure you got the right length so that's not causing a swing flaw, right? It sounds like a problem where equipment might be causing an issue and the choking down, right? And not just once or twice, but so tee it down, make sure that they're in the right area. So I'll go back to this. I did about 400 or 500 driver fittings in a year, and I had an NBA person here 7 foot tall, and I had a very, very short lady in here, and they were all there. The largest percentage under the bell curve was 44 and a half inches. And at that 44 and a half inches, the best distance, best control, period. Turns out that's kind of what they use on the tour, between that and 44 and 3/4. Now there will be some variance, but the lion's share do the same thing. Now these are the world's best, so why would we not want to do that? So if you get them in there and makes it, maybe we'll do that. Kent, we're good. Yay. Hello. Up. In the toilet, Charlie was working on a new chipping technique, and I'm awful. Uh-oh, what kind of chipping technique with that? All right. Jim, did you squeeze the whiskey out of the wood before you made those? No, that would be the devil's cut, man. There was tell. There was tell of all the the distilleries that we go through. You see that, right? There it is. And the distilleries, they talk about the devil's cut, and one of the distilleries mentioned that somebody developed a process in order to do that, to squeeze out what was left in that wood. And it was just extraordinarily expensive, and honestly, it probably didn't taste very good. So I don't think they do that anymore. Although you do see devil's cut out there. I'm not sure just exactly what's devil about it, but it's a devil's cut nevertheless. So I have to do a little bit more on this one. But this is the one. I just think these are just neat. I'm trying to figure out because I'm making about 20 of those damn things. So if you guys are interested, look it out. Suck it out, Charlie. No doubt, as much as it is. Retirement, the single best innovation the world has ever seen. I'm getting ready there, bud. We'll be there not too far away. Mr. P, hola everyone, and hope a blessed evening for everyone. Well, thank you, sir. I'm glad you're joining us from Puerto Rico. There's Brad. Hello, guys. 2 weeks in a row. It's a streak. In the shop now, working on that one length set of clubs. Oh, here we go. He only wants to try 2 clubs for now, matching a 4 and 6 iron to his 8 iron length and swing weight. Well, I hope you got a lot of either you're tearing them apart and putting a whole bunch of weight in the hosel, or you're just going to become Leonardo da Vinci with lead tape. But we'll see. Oh yeah, well, it's all about that, right? If he's willing to try it. Although I would direct your attention, Brad, to the Washawn single length as far as price for performance, bang for buck. I think that's probably the best one out there. That's the EQNX1, I think is what they're called. Definitely did an improvement from the original single length models that he had, with a little bit more soul, a little bit more zing on the what we'll call them hollow bodied irons, in order to get it out there. It does a pretty good job. I'd like to see a little bit more work on their hybrids. I think their hybrids just need a little bit more. But the rest of the clubs are solid, all the way down to the sand wedge, as a matter of fact. There we go. Hello, Brad. That's right, Kent. And now that you retired, your game should be getting better, not worse. Well, he's trying something new. So that's all. Now, speaking of that, I did too. I follow Mike Malaska on YouTube, and he's a golf instructor, and he teaches things a little bit differently, and it's more from a baseball structure than a golfing structure. In the way he does it, I recommend it if you guys want to just at least hear a different way of doing the same thing. Mike Malaska, and he was talking about gaining driver speed and how he started off, and it was with starting out with the hands and then getting into the shoulders, and then how you had to combine that, and then getting into your turn. And when it's all said and done, it's really not too much differently than what we do now. And I did that. I did the loosening up, and I did all the stuff that he wanted. And I was hitting irons just because I wanted to see what was going on. And the very first shot I hit was absolutely jacked. Just killed it down the middle. Felt great. And I'm thinking, wow, this is really good. And then about the 10th swing, the wheels just came clean off of that horse. And but there was the guy holding the stick, not necessarily the swing, because why? Is because I turned into a golfer. Man, that was really easy. I got 10 more yard in that swing. What do you do when you get 10 more yard in that swing? You do that, and you get all jammed up, and next thing you know, the swing just goes to pot. So you got to walk away. So I walked away, and I started cooking pork butt. There's Ken agreeing with Charlie. Hey, Al's on Facebook. Okay. And Robin's talking to Scott and Frank on Facebook. Brad, did you get special heads for that set? No, what he wanted was he had a set, and he just wanted to. Brad had asked me about whether or not he should do this job, and I recommended no, uh, because there's a couple other things that we don't take into account. So when you look at the bottoms of the clubs, if you look at the bottoms of some clubs, particularly nice ones, that each iron head is made a little differently than the next, meaning the blade length is a little bit longer, and we're talking millimeters. The offset might be a little bit different. The sole width is a little bit different. All these things are a little bit different, little bit by little bit by little bit, because of the job that they do. Now you go, Jim, well, it's still the 4 iron. Maybe we still want it to do that. Well, okay, but I would have to, the whole idea of one length is everything's identical, and including your swing, you get a little bit out of it. So we'll see. We'll see how the experiment goes. And when you're at the top end of your set, you're going to have to add a bunch of lead. So we're going to see, or a bunch of weight. We'll see how it works out. I'm truly interested to see how that works. Kent says, give that man a thumbs up. I appreciate that. There's Frank from Cleveland, Tennessee. You know, you normally don't see that. Cleveland, Tennessee. I didn't even know Tennessee had a Cleveland, Frank, so thank you for joining us. YYZ Supra. Oh, a Supra. Man, you know what? Supras are, I remember that was the Mac Daddy back in the day. You were somebody else if you had that kind of a car going on. Massively cool cars. Love the channel as an inventor and drummer. The spin creates a low pressure on one side and high pressure on there, so it pulls towards the low pressure. Well, there you go. See, there you go. No more of the side spinny. There you go. Almost like it, you know, well, when you look at those with the dimples that are supposed to really help you get rid of some of that, then now the dimples are to, what they do is they interrupt the airflow so that if you had it like this and it didn't have dimples on it, the ball would feel like this big going through the air. When it does this, it makes it so it's that big around so that the air friction around it makes the ball feel really small. And but the high and low pressure, that's almost like a wing. All right. Robin says thank you to Kent. No problem. Thumbs up. There's Robin talking. There's Steve. What do you say, man? Don't forget to press that thumbs up. Everybody's in on it. Thank you very much, guys. You're great. Well, thank you. There's Dan. Hope you golfers doing well. Question: what is the one thing you are working on in your game right now? Mine is sing. You know what? That's what I'm working on. That was the whole idea of doing this, to try and get that in order to get the most release out of the club. I think that's where my problem lies. And when I don't do it, I tend to flick it and I hit the bottom of the club with the bottom of the club with the top of the ball. I don't like that. And so that one's, but getting that sequence and then trusting it, that is a tough one. Woo, that's a tough one. Chipping fellas, it's ruining my game too. I tell you what, I've been lucky enough that I've seen a lot. I do like these Opus wedges, I have to admit. I like that Z grind. It has a little bit of extra tungsten across the top, and it gives it a little bit added zip. Now, that's what we found out when we did the fitting. He was the first guy to hit it, and I let him hit a regular one. I'm here to tell you, it was a night and day experience. That said, there's something to be said about soul grinds to get into the right amount of turf. For me, it's the old J grind and Callaway, where it's basically a tour grind that you would do on the tour trailers. We used to do that where you just knock off a whole bunch on the back and you touch very little of the front. That was just so you could open up the club a lot. You could open up the club enough so you could get the ball popped up. And that's what you were looking for. And I love mine. I like mine from a 56 and a 60. And, and unfortunately, I still have to channel my inner Peter Finch. I watched him do one once, and I just watch how he swings just so easily. And when he swings this easily, and what I'm struggling with now, Kent, is the fact that this easily swing process gets the ball up in the air, but now I have to figure out just exactly how much it pops it up. Then it becomes a feel thing. And that part I just don't have. I'm aiming my setup when I get the right ball. Yep, is where I'm aiming. Oh, aiming. Okay, yeah. Oh, he's in Disney this week, Peter is. The Apex TI Fusions irons are coming this week. I just ordered my demos, so we'll be talking about that one. Yeah, they're coming. And they're completed clubs. They're not part of the fitting set. So hopefully you got what you were looking for, man. All right, Supra just joined the channel. He just got hired as a club maker and fitter. Can someone do this while still becoming certified at it? Well, let's say that. Well, let's to put it this way, Supra. You'll be better. You'll be better because you're getting certified. Okay, and it doesn't mean that certification makes you better. It's the process to get certified that makes you better. Meaning that, and that's what I did. In that I took now when I was part of the Professional Club Makers Society, they had a 150 question test, and then they had a practical. And if you failed either one, you failed the whole thing. So it got your attention. Now the 150 question was open book, so all of a sudden I'm getting all kinds of reference material, and I had all kinds. I still do to this day. Still have all the books. And then my very first one was actually a club maker certification. And the very first thing they sent me was a it was a steel shafted wooden driver that they wanted me to apply whipping to. I had never seen it before. I knew it existed, I knew what it was, never did it. So I actually had to go buy whipping. I bought the little tool to help you pull the thing through, and I went through, and I bet I whipped that club at least 10 times before it got to a point where I thought it was okay. And it is an acquired skill, and it's an appreciable skill. Could I do it again now? Yeah, I could do it again now after several tries just to make sure. And I still have uh, that same whipping, and to the point where I was doing it for quite a bit, which I never thought I would, because that didn't exist, but they were still out there. And I actually did stuff with the pitch for those wooden shafted clubs. I still got some of that too. At least I think I do. And so you can do that. Anyway, that's me digressing. So there are places that if you want to do it at home, and since you got hired to do this, I would certainly recommend GolfWorks Home course. All right, you can do it all at home, and then you can take it to your shop and work on it and get proficient. Right, get proficient on it. And don't think you got to start and be all that in a bag of chips early. Do the easy stuff first and get very, very, very good at it. I mean, start with how you change out a grip. All right. Miss McGolf changes out more grips than I do. She does in a week what I do in 2 months. Okay. And you get very proficient at it when you do that. You get, how you take the tape off, the whether you use whether you use a big flame or a heat gun, and then how you take it off. There's different ways. And when you run into, oh look, it's going to follow me today. When you get into um, the water soluble tape, when you get into water soluble tape, how that comes off, that is no fun. And then how you put it on, right? How do you cover the weep hole? I've got series of videos on how to do that. Okay, and in order not to get it all over you. And if you do, you need to start wearing one of these. If you want to go home and not have to change your clothes or buy new ones, get one of these. Okay, get an apron, and it will save. You have no idea what it'll save you from burns, from glue, from solvent that stains your clothes. It's awful. So get you an apron. Okay. The other part is, once you got those are done, then find your way into and take your time and doing things like, shaft changes and knowing that stuff. And GolfWorks addresses all of them. I've been through the GolfWorks training. They had a 1 week, and it was club making and fitting all in 1 week. I think it was like 10 days, maybe it was just 1 week. Anyway, they had a master's class that I attended as well, and then they had another class. They also had a shaft class. Lots to learn. Okay, lots to learn. Playing Magnolia and the Palm Tuesday and Thursday. I played the Magnolia. It was a lifetime ago. Those are fun. Wait till you get. Hopefully, you don't get into the Mickey Mouse trap. And my setup, when I get it right, the ball goes where I aim it. There you go. Well, You showed us what you did last week, Charlie. I mean, gee, many Christmas, you were golfing lights out. That with all those, you were throwing down some seriously good scores, man. I thought it sounded like you really had it figured out. Good for you. Brian Arnold likes the Bookers and good knowledge. Well, I'm glad that you like it. Pars and pours, right? That's what we're here for. There's Krister. We're waiting to hear. We're waiting to hear the hear those results. You were supposed to go see a fitter and check some other stuff out. Although I did see your swing, and I know why that you hit the other one a little bit lower. It's because you got a little bit that longer club, just a little over the not over the top, but more around. I would say. Sounds like you're at Disney. He is. He is at Disney. That and that Magnolia course. Remember when the Magnolia course? I think it was that. Magnolia was the very last tournament of the season. They always had the Wonderful World of Disney, and you got to go see that. Oh, that was neat. Did it again. So it was a good one. My alignment gets sloppy way too often. You are correct. The Booker's has a very woody note on it. I know it's sitting in a box and everything, but very, very woody. All righty. How's the game going? That's what we want to find out. Scott Gordon likes summer golf. Ron G wants to say hi to Jim Robin. Hello there, Mr. Ron. Uh-oh, here we go. My game is not going at all for the moment. He's got a fever. Uh-oh. You want to get over that one, Krister? I mean, your golf season isn't that long, so hopefully you get over it. We're all looking out for you, man. Oh, yeah. Not only is it easy to fall back in old habits, it's easy to fall back in old habits right in the middle of doing good. There's giving him a high five. Saying hello to Frank again. Sorry to hear you're not feeling well. Get well soon. I agree. Jack King, he's in Lombard, and it's a warm Lombard, it looks like. We haven't been live for over a month as I was on a trip to Greece. Well, I think taking the trip to Greece probably override a little bit of this. Well done. Hopefully you had a fun time. How much ouzo did you get into, man? All right. Jack King, do they have any good golf courses in Greece? Now, that's a heck of a question to ask. That's a good one. Hopefully you answer. Rick Marcia, hello from Teos. Where is Teos at? That's neat. Well, hello, Rick. Thanks for joining us. Golf, hello to you too. Yeah. Only around 68 and 76. Well, 68's a pretty damn stellar score. 76, I would say for you, is about average, maybe just a hair above. But heck, good shot. All right. Is a C2 swing weight for a wedge considered light? The answer is yes. That is Bryson's one-length wedge from Ping. What would a standard weight for a wedge be? Typically, they run about D4. Between D3 and D4 is a wedge. So C2 is extraordinarily light. Now, I will say this. The reason why, if you look, and this is another one of those things where people have to really look at this. Woo. All right, where you have to really look at why is it C2, right, John? So here's the deal. I guarantee you, if you take the wedge of this thing, a wedge runs around 302 to 308 grams, depending on what it is. That's pretty heavy for an iron club. And then if you're making it the length, you're going from wedge length to say even 8 iron length. So now you just increase the length of this club. And if you're like at 35 and a half or even 35 and you go to 36 for a 9, 36 and a half for an 8. So now you're inch and a half long, right? Inch and a half long. So that's 9 swing weight points higher. So at D4, you ought to be somewhere in the E range. Okay. You need to be somewhere in the E range. Well, then what happens? He throws on these monster jumbo grips that weigh a ton. They've got about 100 grams on them. And what happens there is that counterweights it basically. So if you go from a grip that you suspect should be 44, that's 60 grams. It's like 6 or 8 swing weight points. So yeah, this thing should be light, right? And now what I gave you should still be in the D's, so maybe he's using a different shaft, but that's where that gets from. So don't get I would imagine his total weight is much heavier than one would think. Starting to get cold in Sweden. The ball will fly shorter, not rolling out as much. Uh-oh. He had 6 bogeys and 1 eagle. At least you had an eagle, man. That takes a little sting out of it. The eagle takes some sting out of it. There you go, Charlie. We are on the we are like this right here, man. Hey, Trace is in here. Oh, how you doing, buddy? Yes, I drove the green on short par 4. Nice. Well done. Robin saying hello to Rick. Da Vinci with lead tape coined that expression. Any opinion on Ping I2 Orange? I'm 5'7" and bike 100 miles a week. Wahoo! Holy cow, dude. Well, see, okay. So number one, let's talk Ping I2s. Ping I2s will always be one of those designs that will live in infamy, meaning that it will always be a good design regardless. Now, if you look at those things, they have a truckload of offset. All right, that neck does like this. However, what happens is that the bottom of the club sticks out and takes some of it back. Not all of it, but some of it. So you have this with that extra bend. It forces you to kind of lean your hands against the ball, which is what you want, right? You don't want to be right on top of it. You want to be a little bit forward of it. And then it has a lot of bounce as the club gets more lofted. The thing has a lot of bounce because there's more sole. Excellent design. It has been an excellent design. Will always be an excellent design, and it's a well desired iron. Matter of fact, if you have a set of copper berylliums and they're all original, you could probably sell them what you actually bought them for and break even after all that, which means you're actually ahead of the game. So there's that one. At 5'7", a little short, but it just depends. And I'm not sure what the orange is. I don't know if that's an upright or if that's a flat. I'm not real familiar with the Ping color coding. So, but I would imagine if orange is probably very, 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 very upright. Now, at 5'7" and in very, very good shape, I would take it a few times. What I would try to do, Supra, is I choke down about, just for the sake of it, and not just once, choke down about 3/4 of an inch. Okay, choke down about 3/4 of an inch, and just hit the ball and hit 5, 6, 10 shots with it just to get used to it. It doesn't matter which one. Just choke on it. Pick whatever club you thought you were going to hit, choke down that much, and see what happens. Now, if you all of a sudden start pulling your ball, then you know you're in pretty good shape. And what's happening is that everything's marrying up, and you probably just need to go back down to something a little flatter. I believe they do. Saw an ad for golf course in Istanbul airport. Ah, okay. Nice. But Istanbul is in Turkey. Well, maybe not so much in Greece then all of a sudden, being the island. He's just north of Chattanooga. All right. I did play the Washawn EQ1 NX's first build with Jumbo Max. Had a swing weight of D9. There we go. Well, that's with the ultralights. And those things are lighter than the 44 grams. Any thoughts on 7-wood versus hybrids versus 7-wood or a 4-wood? Well, Trace, here's the deal. Number one, and one of the giveaways is if you're more of an iron player than a driver player, meaning that let's say you have a more upright swing plane, and this is a generality, but a pretty big one, and you have a fairly upright swing plane, chances are you're going to like a hybrid better. All right. And now we start talking about smash factors again. And I've seen it time and time again where I can give you a 4 hybrid and it will outdistance a 3 wood. And it has nothing to do with you're swinging it fast or anything like that. Is you're just not making contact with the middle of the face. Okay. You're just not making contact with the middle of the face. And so quality of hit is important. Okay. Now, 7 woods. 7 woods are very upright, and you very well may hit the snot out of that one. A 4 wood, that's iffy, okay, and staying in the same vein. Now, if you're somebody who swings a little bit flatter, you very well may destroy a 4 wood, absolutely destroy it, in which case I would suggest staying in that line and just getting that 7 wood. But that's how I would look at it. D9, that would be a sledgehammer. Yes, it would. But you seen the way he swings. He'd muscle that thing around, no problem. There's Ron Griffin. What do you say, sir? It did. We just got to deal with it there, Dan. Hopefully we get it. We're trying the Dan Grieve technique, which is release 1, 2, 3. Totally alien from my usual hinge and hold method. Probably going to stick with the hinge and hold as this release stuff. Oh, okay. I see what he's talking about. Yeah. Yeah, the other one is, and again, this is different. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just different. And, but the hinge and hold is tried and true. That's for sure. Not the ultralight mid-size. You use bigger muscles in the hands. We did rebuild them to D3 later. There we go. We did an MOI fitting, ended up with 14 grams of lead tape. That's how they got to be dead. Oh my gosh. No. That is a lot of lead tape, dude. See, 14 grams, and I think we talked about that. When you start throwing 14 grams, you start messing with center of gravities and things. There we go. Played at the University of Indiana course with my son this weekend. Zoysia fairways are amazing to chip and pitch from, absolutely stopping on a dime. A first for me. Very cool, Sully. We stopped at the Indiana University. There was a guy there that was another club maker, club fitter. I doubt he's still doing it now. His name was Dave, and little strange cat, but nice fella, just super nice. I got to go into their clubhouse. Well, the universities where the students go and stay. I'm not sure what you would call that for them, but they had the locker room, places to study, places to swing. But the thing I remember the most was they had a green, and it was a humongous green, and it was cut into quadrants, and each quadrant had a different setup to get in there. One had a very high-sided bunker. The other one had really high rough. The other one was manicured. All of them were just really different, and how to get out of it. It was a lot of fun. She kept me busy all weekend. You are not wrong. We don't need to. Yeah, she did. She did. Last week I had a Titleist fitting session. Let's say that the GT2 2-wood is a rocket. 270 years of carry off the deck and a total of 290 yards, but 685 with an upcharge of that heavy-duty shaft. Yeah. It's a lot of money. There we go. I'm a believer in the shorter than standard length driver. Currently playing mine at 45 inches. There you go. So he says, late to the show, but enjoying it. Well, we're glad you're here, bud. I play mine at 46.85, but we'll cut down to 46 and a quarter to get the right swing weight without counterbalance. Aha. $1,000 driver swing. Oh, come on, Krister. There's nothing about money. $1,000 for a driver. Unfortunately, the way you go through them, I don't know if you'd want to keep it. you'd have to play a lot of rounds in order to make your money back. Me and Charlie, I tell you what. Woo. Chris, that's his annual membership. That's funny. That's not a bad membership. Speaking of that, I got an invite from a guy that is in Chillicothe. He owns a golf course called Spud Run, and it's exactly what you think. He's got it. The logo is a potato with legs, and it's literally one golf hole with 9 different tee boxes, and you can play everywhere from a par 3 to a par 5 on this thing. Absolutely, it looks totally cool to go check it out. I'm going to check it out. I think I'll probably have to do a video there. Played two longer course this past weekend, and my scores were in the 80s. Best was 83. Hey, not too bad. Longer course. So when I do this, when we go on the vacation, I always take Bob with, or Bob and his wife Penny go with us, and it's a great time. And for the most part, Bob plays. He normally plays the senior tees, but when he's playing with me, I make him play the white because we literally hit it about the same distance anymore. And his short game is just lightning better. And until he starts struggling, then we go up to the front. But but yeah, the longer courses, man. And then we get down to the end, we go to the back, and the last 16 or 17, 18, we go to the tips. And it's funny that it's a different way of golfing. I don't know if I'd want to do all 18 holes with that, but you really got to strategize your shots in order to not score real high. $520. Okay, that's pretty good. And it's unlimited golf. Nice. 9 fittings in a week. You are correct. New Mexico. Okay. Now I know. Ah, okay. Still, that's not bad at all, bud. Charlie's saying it's a good round. I'd agree with him. There is the Costa Navarino golf venue in Greece. I haven't been there myself, but I heard from other Swedes that it's a good golf venue. Okay. Thanks. Great thought. I did cut the orange down about 3/4 of an inch for my height. Much better ball flight and comfortable. The clubs are in great shape, and thank you. You're welcome, bud. Your videos are accelerating my learning process. Well, we hope they do that. Oh, he is? He's on YouTube? Okay. I thought I saw some Instagram stuff, but I haven't seen the other stuff. Ah, there's Mark. He's one of the guys we were just talking about. He had a great experience in the golf shop. Can't wait to get the new sticks. Well, very good. Glad you're on here, Mark. Hopefully everything's good going with James, getting that eye taken care of. You could tell he wasn't real comfortable with wearing the eye patch versus not wearing it, versus wearing it. It'll come around. All right. Nick Page. Oh, I like he's a camera guy. Okay. Very cool. What's your favorite fancy ferrule manufacturer? Well, some of the ones that has a whole lot of different ones is the BB&F. However, Golfworks has gotten into it a little bit, and they're not as fancy, but they do look pretty cool. But those are my 2 faves. There's Aaron. Man, it's been a while. Been watching you take trips all over the place. Thanks for getting back. Thanks for coming, she says. Phil spud in for us, Jim. Oh, it did. The pictures I saw on Instagram, it's just this really cool, really long single fairway in the middle of the woods. It looks really cool. And the thing is, it's the next town up. I don't even know why I don't know about it. Do the film. Yeah, I have to tell him. He said, "Hey, man, give me a few extra minutes, and we'll see what we can do." Okay, so we got a film Spud Run, and We got to go build some clubs for Dan and our friend from Pennsylvania. And if you guys are interested, I got a handful of these guys. You can talk with Mrs. McGolf. She'll tell you what the deal is with them. And I did use glue that I put my golf clubs together with, so that they would work. Also, I got them at about a swing weight of a D1. No, I don't even know what they are. And hopefully you guys are enjoying. All right, guys. So we made it to the end, which is awesome. Again, thank you for all the questions. Thank you for sticking around this long, to be sure. Also, if you would, tell your friends, like and subscribe, and let's get more of this information out to the YouTube universe. As always, let's see your scores go low.